Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing my last Q&A video leading up to the second last episode of The Walking Dead Season 5, Episode 15, Try. Okay, and of course, spoiler warning if you're not caught up on The Walking Dead, but I do want to say and let you guys know there's a lot of spoilers going around right now for the finale of The Walking Dead Season 5, the final 2 episodes, especially episode 15. It seems like a lot of people have been telling me that there's some spoilers posted. Don't know what they're about, trying to stay away from them, trying to stay out of comments, stuff like that right now, because I really don't want to know. So I would suggest to you guys who don't want to know, you do the same thing. You can watch my videos, but just stay out of the comment section below. If you want to leave your own comment, just be careful how far down you scroll, because I personally I've kind of always been this way. With the Noah Aiden thing last week, that was spoiled for me prior. That was spoiled for me before the episode came out. And it really sucked because it really took away from it. So this week I'm trying really carefully to stay out of spoilers, to not look at spoilers, and to try to avoid them as best I can. And that's what I've been doing. And I'm going to do that today. And hopefully I won't see anything, and should be fun when we actually get to see the episode going in without knowing anything about what's going to happen, without anything being spoiled. So that'll be good. So just a warning to you guys, if you're online today, if you're browsing around for The Walking Dead and stuff, just be careful, because you don't want to have the episode 15 or the finale ruined. I don't know what spoilers are out there for the finale, but people have told me there are some for episode 15 at least. So that's it. Do have some questions to go through with you guys for today. Wanted to get these done before the episode, of course, airs tonight. Didn't get a video up for The Walking Dead yesterday. I made a few Game of Thrones videos, a couple Game of Thrones videos, and that just took up a little bit more time than I thought it was going to, and as a result, I wasn't able to get a video for you guys tomorrow or yesterday. So my apologies for that. Of course, review tonight as usual, predictions for the finale as usual, and should have lots of videos coming up this week because, of course, it's the finale week, right? So lots of stuff to talk about with the finale. Should be a great episode and a half, a 90-minute episode. Can't wait for it. So that's it. Let's get into your guys' questions. Let's go through them. We've got some good ones here, and should be some fun. First one's from kevlebrium, and he says, "Hey Trev, keep up the daily videos, man. Here's my question: when people in The Walking Dead go on runs for supplies, why don't they cover themselves up with zombie guts? That way they can go in and get what they want without the walkers trying to eat them." So it's a great question. I definitely wanted to add to this Q&A because he's basically mentioning the guts trick. So this is what we've seen them do before, where they will cover themselves in zombie guts and allow them to kind of blend in with the rest of the zombies, so the zombies do not attack them when they go on runs. It's a good idea. So we've seen the group, the Whisperers, who are really prevalent right now in the Walking Dead comic book series. They're our main villains, our main focus right now, or one of them anyway. And they do that all the time. They do that 100% of the time. They wear zombie flesh, they wear skins, and they do that all the time, 100%, right? That's the way they live. With Rick's group and the other survivors that we've seen, they know about the option of doing that, and like Carol does, Rick does. It's just that they tend not to, because at least my interpretation of it is that it's so disgusting that they don't really want to, right? I mean, would you really want to cover yourself in zombie guts and blood and just gore all the time? And also, too, in the location where they're at, of course, they film in Georgia and that, right? So freaking hot, right? That if they, and even in the Walking Dead universe where they are in the universe, I mean, during the summertime stuff, when it gets hot, and you're covered in zombie blood and it's just drying on you, it's just nasty. So I tend to think that they're kind of the type of survivors that they feel like they're good enough that they can get in and out without, with just killing some zombies, and they should be okay without having to use the guts trick all the time, except for rare circumstances. So that's my interpretation of it. Would it be a better idea to do that? Oh yeah. I like the Whisperers' perspective or their idea, which is that you do it all the time. You cover yourself with it all the time and you just get used to it. You just live that lifestyle. I mean, that's what you have to do if you want to survive. And, I'm sure they're much better off because of it. That said, also too, though, a lot of the places where Rick and the survivors, their group, the Alexandria group as well, a lot of places they're going, there aren't any survivors there. They're all zombies. So a lot of the zombies there have not seen a survivor for a very long time. So the guts trick may, even though it would work for the most part, if you have some zombies that are super hungry that haven't seen anyone for a really, really long time, it probably would be pretty easy to tip them off. If they hear you even speaking or anything of the sort, they're probably going to attack because they're so hungry, right? They're hungrier than a lot of the other zombies that maybe have been out there in places, in and around, roaming, stuff like that. A lot of these are more of like lurkers where they're just staying in one spot, and as the our survivors go by, they're kind of jumping on them. That said, the guts trick would also be beneficial in that case too, but I think they probably don't do it because it's just so disgusting that they wouldn't want to. Getting used to that would just be gross. And they're more of our clean survivors. Clean shaven and cutting their hair and stuff like that, and doing that, which is far off from what the Whisperers and groups like that do. So you're right. Kevil's got some good points here, or kevlebrium's got some good points here. But it's just kind of like I see the group as that being why. So those are my thoughts on it. Let me know what you guys think, though. If you do want to write a comment, just don't scroll down to see other people's comments if you want to avoid spoilers. I probably won't check it until Monday or Tuesday. Next one is from FadeToDanny, and he says, "Hey Trev, I don't know if you've noticed this about the deaths that have taken place in season 5 of The Walking Dead, but in short, a character introduced in either season 2, 3, 4, 5 have all been killed off." So we've had a death from each season, he means to say. Beth, who was introduced in season 2, was killed off. Tyrese, who was introduced in season 3, was killed off. Bob was introduced in season 4, was killed off. And Noah was introduced in season 5, was killed off. So basically, I'm trying to point out is after seeing that pattern, do you think this increases the chances of someone from season 1 being killed off? Thanks for reading, and I enjoy watching your videos. Keep up the great work. So that's an interesting way of putting it. I haven't thought of it like comparing it when they were introduced. But yeah, there's supposed to be a big death coming up in the finale, and somebody did send me a thing from Michael Cudlitz. He did an interview, and he said that fans are going to be pissed off when they see the finale, but then then they're going to be sad afterwards. So I don't know. I mean, it could be one of our season 1 characters. Season 5 is definitely a death-heavy season. I mean, every season you have big deaths in The Walking Dead. You had the season 4 with the governor, and that season 3 there was a lot. So every season you have deaths. But if you compare it to like the second half of season 4 and that, it definitely has been pretty death-heavy. Going right from the beginning with Bob and the rest, Tyrese, and especially the second half because it's like Tyrese, Noah, Aiden. It really feels like we've had a lot. Beth and Bob. So. Yeah, there have been definitely a lot of deaths, and I think it's been a great season, though. It's been a very cutthroat type season where, as long as things don't get spoiled for you, you really don't know what's going to happen. So it is a good it's a good comment, but I don't think it has anything to do with the seasons in which they're introduced. However, you might have a good point that they may want to kill off in the finale one of those characters that's been in there since the beginning. And I think it just comes into play when you add a lot of characters to the group, right? Then you have to kind of make room for them to a degree. Like the group's probably going to get bigger as the seasons go on, but at a certain point, the group is going to be so huge that you're going to have a lot of the earlier characters killed off in the series because there's going to be so many new ones coming in. And even like Abraham, who's and those 3 have been added on. We didn't really get after they were added on in that. We started losing characters this season here, but in place of Abraham, who's like a core character now, he's like a point of view character and everything. We haven't really lost a character prior to that was, except for maybe, you have Tyrese and Beth, right? But I just feel like they've added on a lot of characters, and we could probably see a few more be killed off pretty soon. But that's why, like I said, death heavy season, because they've been adding on tons with Alexandria and all the rest, that you're seeing Beth and the others from earlier on in the series be killed off. And it's just to keep things fresh and new, and keep that sense of danger about the zombies and that, and not knowing where they're going to go with it, unpredictability, which is really important. Great question from him. Next one's from SNKGN. And here she says, Pete will be needed to save Tara, so Rick will have to hold off on confronting Pete over Jesse. Just my theory. So that's a good point, because Tara was coming back with Glenn, of course, and Eugene, and we did hear a yell near the end of episode 14 with you have Deanna who was talking with Gabriel, and then you hear a shout from outside. Right? My interpretation of that was probably them getting back, yelling for help. And that's true that Pete is their doctor. So Pete is useful, he is useful to the group because he's a doctor. So Tara's injured, Tara's hurt. He can help her out, right? He will be able to help her. Now, also, of course, you've got Rick who's got baby Judith, and there's a lot of survivors there that as things happen in the zombie apocalypse over the years, it would be really useful to have a doctor like Pete there. So I do agree with him here. I think he makes a good point. Some people also have the theory that if Pete's not able to save Tara, then Rick may kill him afterwards. It would just give him even more reason if he's not able to do anything. Granted, though, it's not like it's his fault or anything. Doctors can't save everybody. It depends what kind of state she comes in and what options he has, which sometimes are unfortunately not very many, depending, especially with trauma to the head and stuff like that. So let's go on to the next one. Next one's from Transforming Keith, and he says, "Hey, Trev, I heard the priest yell something when he went outside right after the group. Says, I was put this right in order. Can't be trusted. Do you know what it was? It sounded like, help, I need help." Well, yeah, just like what I just said, I think it's Glenn and the others coming back and Eugene coming back with Tara and, the deaths and everything and them needing help for Tara. So I think that's what we were hearing in the background, like I just said. Next one's from Paul Dinners, and he says, Trev, got an interesting question for your Q&A. Do you think that the people of Alexandria know they are all infected? No, I don't think so. Meaning that, do they know if one of them dies from natural causes or is shot or something, that they will actually turn into a zombie still as long as it's not a shot to the head, right? No, I don't think they know that, man. I don't think they have that awareness at this point in time. I mean, it's possible that some characters could have killed off others and then they could have turned anyway and they could have figured it out because it is a while into the zombie apocalypse. But I tend to think with the Alexandria group, I tend to think of them as like they don't have any idea. Like it's like they've been living in a time bubble and they don't know anything. Like they have no knowledge like our surviving group does. They just have no clue, right? That's at least my interpretation of it. I mean, it's possible they would know, right? Because they've been alive for so long, but I just seem to think that they just don't. I seem to think they're in the dark about a lot of things, and that's one of them. They didn't have somebody on lookout, right? Until Rick and the group arrived. They didn't have somebody on lookout all the time. And, to Rick and to us as viewers, it's just insane not to, after you've seen what they've seen. But again, the group at Alexandria has been very closed off, so they don't really know a lot of anything. It's kind of like asking if Gabriel would know that, people were infected, right? No, he wouldn't know, neither would, I don't think the Alexandria people would either, even though the community is a lot bigger, still, than just one person. Next one's from New England Patriots, #1 fan for life. And he or she, it's probably he, says, "Hey, Trev, big fan from North Carolina. Got a question for your Q&A. When you were growing up, did it ever piss you off that you couldn't fly like they could in Dragon Ball Z? Because when I was younger, it always made me mad I couldn't fly." So a silly question from him, but I thought I'd throw it in here anyway because it's funny. When I was younger, I had a few power battles with my friends. A few Kamehameha, energy battles, and sometimes you watch DBZ and you see Goku go Super Saiyan. It amps you up so much that you may even potentially try to go Super Saiyan yourself. I remember a couple years ago there was a video of that kid who he was. What was he doing? He was trying to go Super Saiyan or something. I don't know. He did it on camera, and it was like a viral video and stuff. It was pretty funny. So, but yeah, I don't think that's so strange that he did that. It was weird that he posted it online. I wouldn't do that unless it's just a joke video or something. But yeah, I think everybody, when you're a kid, you're more imaginative, and your idea of the world is more loose. So yeah, I've definitely been there, man. And it definitely made me upset that I couldn't go Super Saiyan, or I couldn't fly, or I couldn't shoot energy blasts out of my hands or anything. That'd be so cool, man. Imagine zombie apocalypse Goku or something. It'd just be awesome. Next question is from Batmaster86. He says, "Hey, Trev, I want to say first that I love your channel. Keep up the good work with videos. My question is, what would you say your favorite cliffhanger was from any episode on the show?" great question from Batmaster. So the best cliffhanger we've had so far, because with so many episodes, The Walking Dead, man, that's a really tough one. I would say that, oh, dude, I mean, think about how many, that were real cliffhangers. Like the end of season 4 was a huge cliffhanger because they're like captured and they're like, at Terminus and that. And it was just a really crazy way to leave a season off. Season 3 actually had a big cliffhanger too because the governor attacked, didn't work, and he left. I'd say probably after season 3, I was most like, excited for more because I felt like the season 3 finale just didn't do it for me. It didn't seal that governor deal, and I was really excited to see what they were going to do with the governor, how they were going to reintroduce him. I love him as a villain. I love David Morse's governor. Love the villain, and couldn't wait for the next step to see what was going to happen next. So I'd probably go with season 3. But even season 2, you had like the cliffhanger with Andrea and Michonne and the prison and that. And, midway season 3 with Made to Suffer. It was called Made to Suffer. We had like the Daryl and Merle thing. So, man, there have been so many awesome cliffhangers. But if I had to say one in particular, I'll probably always remember after reviewing the finale for season 3, looking forward to season 4, with the governor, looking forward like what's going to happen. You're just having no idea. That for me was the most brutal cliffhanger because at least with Terminus it was like, okay, I know it's going to be the hunters, I know they're going to be cannibals, I know what's going to happen, and to a degree, and there's going to be some new stuff with the TV series, but I kind of had an idea. With the end of season 3, with the governor still being alive and just not knowing, killing this whole group and stuff, I was just like, wow, what are they going to do next? Like, where are they going to go from here? It's so off course from the comic book series. It's just weird. Andrea's dead now. Milton's killed. Merle's dead. It's like, wow, where are they going to go next? So, yeah, season 3 cliffhanger for me. Even though it wasn't really like a cliffhanger, it was kind of the resolution to the Woodbury versus prison. I was just I couldn't wait to see season 4's premiere because I was like, what are they going to do with it? I had no idea, right? So great question from Batmaster. Definitely wanted to highlight that one for a bit. Next one is from Carlos Marchand, and he says, "Hey Trev, greetings from Ecuador." What, Ecuador? I wanted to know what you think about Team Delusional. If you don't know, is a group of people that think that Beth is alive and create a lot of crazy theories. They mainly post on Instagram or Tumblr. You should read them so you can have a good laugh. Some of their theories are paralleling Beth with comic book Andrea because and he goes into some other stuff here. I'm not going to read the rest, man. I don't know Team Delusional. I don't know who that is. I remember hearing theories about this and people being really upset about the Beth thing. But it's crazy like how big the Walking Dead community is online that even me, as much time as I spend focusing on the show and doing videos and all this stuff, talking with you guys, there's still so many groups of people out there and stuff with the community that I just don't even know. There's even YouTube channels that like I don't know. Like there's other people on YouTube who do it. In the sidebar of my channel, you can see some of them. There's like Zeus Tuber, who I do know him because he helped me out when the channel was down for a bit. Make a Path Presents is another one who does videos who. I don't really know too much about him. His followers are really annoying though. They come to my channel and say all kinds of ridiculous things to me, and it's like, well, go watch him if you don't want to watch me then. So I don't know, but yeah, there's and then there's lots of others. I think there's Kev Says So or something like that, and of course Emergency Awesome. I obviously know him. He's huge, right? So there's lots of different, YouTubers and people that do Walking Dead. There's different sites. There's Daily Dead, which is my favorite. There's, Wet Paint, which is big. And I look at those sites a lot to see what's new and what interviews and articles are hitting and stuff for the channel and do stuff like that. But I don't really, as far as groups like that and Tumblr and Facebook and stuff, I don't really watch people. Some people ask me, do you watch other YouTubers and that, like the people I just mentioned? I don't. With regards to me and The Walking Dead, I spend so much time on it. I spend so much time making videos and doing reviews and stuff that I'm just like, I don't really care to watch others mainly. You know what I mean? With Game of Thrones, that's a weird show where I actually do like to see what other people are doing with it. I like to watch reviews for Game of Thrones. With The Walking Dead, I really just focus on what I'm creating and what I'm doing. I don't really, look at too much what else is out there, Team Delusional or whatever, to give my thoughts on that whole idea they were right initially. They were saying that Beth was going to come back, and I didn't think she was ever going to. So I was wrong. They were right. So Beth did come back, I guess, for a little bit, like for the episode 9 after the break, right? But yeah, I don't know what to say about that. I mean, they just got it. Like, it's The Walking Dead, don't you know by now? Like, that's how the show is. That's how The Walking Dead is that as we go through, characters are going to be killed off, things are going to happen, and that's how it's going to be, right? So that's it. Next one is from Zeus the God. He says, "Hey Trev, in the promo for next episode, it shows Rick holding a gun in the dark. Do you think it is possible for them to do a similar thing that Rick and Shane did in season 2, episode 12, where Rick and Pete are talking and Rick kills him? Wouldn't that be cool if, like, because I felt the Shane vibes like crazy. By the way, I don't know if this is Zeus too or somebody else uses the name Zeus. I think that's a big video game. Is that from? I don't know. I don't know where. I mean, I know what Zeus is, with the whole gods and stuff. But I don't know if that's because there's Ares God of War. That was a game, right? I'm not up with everything out there that there is in fiction, as much as I try. But that's a great one from him. I wanted to put that in there. I feel like they're doing it on purpose. I feel like they're purposefully, making all these things feel like Shane, and to us really hardcore viewers that remember season 2, that watched season 2 and really loved it, myself and of course him included, and everybody else, all you guys who did like Shane a lot. It's really cool to see how similar, and even when they're shooting scenes in a similar way to show that Rick's evolution all the way till now, he's become so much like how Shane was in season 2. It's not even funny. And more parallels they can draw, the better. So from what he's saying here, I hope that's what they do. I hope they kind of mirror it to make it seem a lot like what happened with Shane and Rick, except when Rick pulls or holds the gun up to him, he doesn't give Pete a chance to stab him or do something. He actually just kills him with no hesitation. You know what I mean? Because if Shane did that, Rick would be dead right now, right? If he full 100% went without hesitation, and I feel like Rick would do that at this point. He would 100% without hesitation just kill him, and that's it. If the time was right, if the situation was right, right? So yeah, I think that is what they're going to do, and I feel like they've been doing it because you look at the scene with him in the mirror when he's looking in the mirror, it just feels so much like the Shane scene from Save Last One in season 2. It just does, and a lot of the other things too, like the way he looks at Pete and then reaches back for the gun and doesn't grab it, but it just feels so much like Shane, man. It's crazy. So really cool stuff. We'll do a couple more here. Next one's from Matthew Fagan. And Matthew says, Trev, have you noticed Rick's mannerisms of late? No, this is funny. Are basically the same as what Shane's were. Do you think Rick will ever mention Shane again? So it's funny. I must have put this after the other one because it's so, because it kind of carries through, right, in the questions. Man, I hope so. I mean, the more, and I mean, my all-time dream is if they could, like, for the show, and I would just, it'd be like my favorite episode ever, and I've said this before, if they could get John Bernthal to come back for an episode, if they could get him to, just do something, either a hallucination again, or, or kind of like, say something to Rick, like if he kills Pete, have him just kind of standing there and just kind of smile at him or something. Or, and then have Rick give his head a shake and have him not be there. Even something that subtle would make it my favorite episode ever. For sure. I mean, because I go back and I watch the season 2 episodes again, and it's like, wow, man. I question, like, is this the best part of The Walking Dead? In some ways, no, it isn't, because the show's gotten bigger and, more zombies and more action, more stuff like that. And season 2 didn't really have that. But with the character feeling and dynamics of what happened with Shane, man, that was the most impactful feeling that I've had in the whole series, I'd say, for sure. That's a Darabont thing, I think. If you watch The Shawshank Redemption, you'll see how much of a master he is at making you feel bonds between characters and feel for characters. That's what makes that the number one, or one of the highest rated movies of all time in terms of like reviews and criticism, critiques, and everything. Shawshank Redemption is near the top because you really feel like you're not just watching a movie. You feel like these two guys that were in prison together have this beautiful friendship, not gay or anything like that, but just this beautiful friendship that it's just beautiful. It brings a tear to your eye in the end of the movie, right? And I feel like that they had that with Shane and Rick. So if we could even get, like they did with the governor, I think that if they were able to do it with Shane, best episode ever. It doesn't matter what the rest of the episode is like. I'll say it's the best episode ever for sure in the channel, definitely. Because that would just be, so awesome for the series to have that the actual tie back in. Would be so cool. Anyway, let's move on. A couple more. I'll wrap these up because if I don't get to them today, it's not gonna get through, right? Next one's from Mez Massacre, and he says, "Hey Trev, love the videos. I look forward to them every day. Keep up the great work. What are your thoughts on Enid being part of the Wolves?" So yeah, a similar question. I've gotten this a few times. I think she is. I think there's something weird going on with her. We've seen the sneak peek too with her and Carl, but it looks like to me that she probably there's something going on with her. Sasha's shooting at her. Something's got to be happening with her, man. She's got to either be a spy or something of the sort. Something's happening with her, and I think that's a good theory. I think it's a good idea, and I hope they do that. They might not, but I hope they do. Next one's from Chance Neck, and he says, Maggie in the finale finding out that she is pregnant. What do you think? Well, I mean, that would be huge if they did that, but then if they did that, they'd probably kill her off afterwards or something. Like right away or something, right? But no, it seems like they're setting her up to be the leader because she's learning from Deanna and that, so that's pretty cool. And I would like to see if she ended up being pregnant at some point in time. It would just add to the whole Glenn thing, and it kind of adds to the sadness if something does happen to Glenn or her, one of the two, right? Just makes it's a great try. It's a great if you have the baby added in there and one of them dies, it just really is more impactful, I feel like, yeah. And he says, also, you should review Doctor Who. And it's like, well, I don't know, man. I don't really watch Doctor Who, to tell you the truth. I know it's a huge, legendary type series, one of the biggest series on BBC or British TV, right? UK and that. I don't know too much about it. I personally, I think my mom used to watch it. That's like, oh, my mom watched it, so I can't watch it now because it's not cool. It's not cool if my mom watched it. No, she loves Doctor Who, so yeah, I could check it out, but I've got to really like something to want to recap or review it every week. That's how much I love The Walking Dead. I can talk about it 7 days a week, and I still love it for 4 years on end, right? So yeah, that's what's up. But I could look at it, but I don't have much time after doing The Walking Dead. I try to do other stuff, and it just ends up being less Walking Dead videos, like Game of Thrones this week. So I mix it up a bit, but I don't think I'm gonna do anything with Doctor Who. No, I'm not that big of a fan of that kind of genre. So I do like sci-fi, but not too much. Okay. Last one was more of a kind of article thing where it said that Greg Nicotero has actually signed up for a new 2-year contract with AMC. So he's extended his contract by 2 years. He's going to be executive producer. He's going to continue with the effects and everything. So that's pretty awesome. So, just want to kind of mention that and throw it out to you guys that, he's going to be there for at least another 2 years, probably longer than that, because I feel like this is his life's work, his career's work. And I'm happy. I mean, he does the best zombie effects you could ever imagine. He did the zombie effects in a lot of different movies and stuff. By the way, I got this cool new zombie poster here. I don't know if you guys saw this. And in the middle at the back there is actually my favorite zombie. He's not from The Walking Dead. He's from Day of the Dead. And his name is Dr. Tongue. And he is Dr. Tongue. And he has, and I actually have an action figure of him somewhere. And he has had his tongue ripped out. And he's like a doctor. So he reminds me of some of my university professors in computer science. He's got the white hair, really old looking. You picture he'd have glasses probably in real life, but his tongue has been ripped out, so the blood just smears down his face. I don't know how well you can see it there. He's right in the middle of the poster, but anyway, I thought that was funny. But I'm not sure if Greg Nicotero did that one or who exactly did that. But I know he was working, in and around, the the zombie, effects. I think he worked on the Dead movies. I have to look that up to say for sure. But I know there was I think there was Tom Savini and some other, it was other people. That was a long time ago. But anyway, I'd like to see them do a Dr. Tongue in the TV series. Hopefully Nicotero can get on that at some point. But at this time, he does the best zombie effects ever, man, for sure. I mean, his effects are better than the Dead series, and they're just amazing, man. They're just amazing. So it's good news. It's good news that he's going to continue. So anyway, that was a kind of a thorough Q&A for you guys. Wanted to get through all those before the episode actually airs. So there it is for you guys. Heads up for tonight, of course. You guys know what to expect: the review, predictions, all the regular good stuff. I'll probably do a top 5 best moments tonight. I think so, because I'm off for the next 3 weeks for vacation. Yes. What am I going to do with my vacation? Well, the same thing I Same thing we do every day, brain. Try to take over the world. No, but I'm going to hang out with you guys, of course, and Jess, and do some stuff I needed to do that get some work done around the house and stuff like that. Anyway, enough of me blabbering on. I hope you guys liked it. If you did, please thumb it up below. Of course, we'll see you tonight. Excited for the finale, and so thumb it up if you can. If you want to share it, you want to favorite it, I always appreciate it. And that's it for today's Q&A, guys. I'll see you tonight. As always, it's Trev. I'm saying peace.